The boy my wife tucked in this morning is not our son. The last real words my 6-year-old son ever said to me were about the woman who lived in his wall. "Daddy, she's singing again." His voice, a tiny, sharp thing in the crushing dark of our bedroom, shattered what little sleep I had. The door was already open, his small silhouette framed by the hallway light. He didn't scream this time. That was somehow worse. "Emil," I mumbled, my voice a gravelly ruin. I rolled over, the weight of the world pressing down on my eyelids. "Go back to bed." "There's no one there." He didn't move. He just stood there, a little ghost in dinosaur pajamas. Then my wife, Isra, stirred beside me. She sat up in one fluid motion, the sheets pooling around her waist. She didn't need to be fully awake to be a mother. "Come here, baby." Her voice was a soft hum. Emil scrambled onto the bed and buried his face in her side, his small body racked with shivers that had nothing to do with the cold. She looked at me over his head. Her eyes, even in the gloom, were a clear and sharp demand. "Kian, please, just check. Isra, we've done this every night for a month." Her stare hardened. It was the look she got when she felt I was failing, not just as a husband, but as a father. It cut deeper than any shout could. I huffed out a breath, a plume of pure exhaustion, and swung my legs out of bed. The floorboards were ice against my bare feet. I didn't bother with the lights. I knew the path to my son's room by heart, a nightly pilgrimage of futility. It had started small. A nightmare, we thought. Then he started talking about her. The woman in his closet. She'd whisper to him, he'd said. At first, I'd been terrified. I remember the first time he screamed, I practically tore his door off its hinges, expecting to find a goddamn burglar. I ripped the closet open, my heart trying to beat its way out of my chest, ready to kill someone. And I found nothing. Clothes. A stack of board games. His little light-up sneakers blinking dumbly in the dark. Tonight was no different. I nudged his door open. The room was cold. I walked over to the closet, my hand closing around the wooden knob, and I pulled. The same neat rows of shirts, the same smell of laundry detergent and dust. I pushed it shut, maybe a little harder than I meant to. The click echoed in the quiet house. Back in our room, Emil was still wrapped in Isra's arms. "All clear, buddy," I said, my voice trying for a gentleness I didn't feel. He peeked out from under her arm. "She told me my bones are wrong," he whispered, his voice trembling. "She said she has a new skin for me, a better one." A chill, completely separate from the cold of the house, snaked its way up my spine. What kind of nightmare puts words like that in a 6-year-old's head? "You can sleep with us tonight, sweet boy," Isra cooed, pulling the covers over him. I shot her a look. Absolutely not. We'd agreed. Giving in would only make it worse. But she was already settling back down, curling her body around our sons like a shield. I knew that look. I'd lost. I grabbed my pillow without a word and headed for the living room. The couch springs groaned in protest as I collapsed onto it. I glanced at the oven clock on my way down. 3:12 a.m., work in less than 4 hours. Fucking fantastic. The next morning, the house was quiet. Too quiet. I woke up with a crick in my neck, the morning light, a pale, sickly gray through the blinds. The smell of coffee was already in the air. Isra was at the counter, her back to me, staring out the window. Emil was at the table, methodically pushing Cheerios around a bowl of milk with his spoon. He didn't look up when I walked in. "Morning," I grunted, heading straight for the coffee pot. Isra just hummed a reply. Her shoulders were tight, coiled like springs. I poured a mug and sat down across from Emil. "How you feeling, champ?" I tried to ruffle his hair. He flinched away from my hand. "Fine." The word was flat. Empty. "You know, what you said last night about the woman? That's just a bad dream, okay? It's not real." His spoon clattered into the bowl. "You don't believe me." It wasn't a question. His eyes, when he finally looked at me, were old. So damn old. "You never believe me." "Emil, that's not. She's real," he shouted, shoving his chair back so hard it screeched against the tile. Milk sloshed onto the table. "She's real and she's coming for me, and you don't even care." He burst into tears, a gut-wrenching, hopeless sound that filled the kitchen. Isra rushed to him, wrapping him in a hug and glaring at me over his head as if I'd just slapped him. "I have to get ready for work," I said, my own voice tight. I couldn't stand it. I walked out, the sound of my son's sobs following me down the hall. The day was a blur of spreadsheets and forced smiles. I was a ghost at my own desk, running on caffeine and pure spite. Every time my phone buzzed, my stomach plummeted, expecting a call from the school, from Isra, another crisis, another fire to put out. All I could think about was my son's face, the accusation in his eyes. That's when I got the idea. On the way home, I stopped at a big box store and bought one of those stupid little security cameras, a nanny cam. It was small, unassuming. Proof. That's what I needed. I'd show Emil the footage of his empty, quiet room in the morning, and that would be the end of it. We could all finally get some goddamn sleep. Isra agreed without a fight. She just looked tired. "Whatever you think will help, Sian." While she was giving Emil a bath, I saw a drawing he'd left on the coffee table. It was our family. Me, Isra, and him. But over on the far edge of the paper there was another figure. It was just a tall black scribble, but the arms were long, way too long, with jagged little lines for fingers. And it had no face, just a smooth, blank oval. I set up the camera on his bookshelf, angled perfectly to see his bed and the closet door. After his bath, I tucked him in. "See that little light?" I pointed. "That's a camera. It's gonna watch you all night. Keep you safe." His eyes, wide and dark, flicked from the camera to the closet. "Will she see it?" "She's not real, buddy. So no, she won't see it." I leaned down and kissed his forehead. His skin felt cool. "I love you." "Love you too, Daddy," he mumbled, already drifting off. I left his door cracked, just like always, and went to bed. For the first time in what felt like a year, I slept. Deep, dreamless, uninterrupted sleep. When I woke up, sunlight was streaming into the room. It was 8:30. I sat bolt upright. The house was silent. Isra was still asleep beside me, breathing softly. No screaming, no little footsteps running down the hall. A wave of relief so powerful it almost made me dizzy washed over me. It worked. Just the presence of the camera was enough. He'd slept through the night. I crept to his room and pushed the door open. He was in his bed, on his back, the covers pulled up to his chin. He was awake, staring at the ceiling. "Hey, slugger. Sleep okay?" I whispered. He just nodded. Didn't even look at me. "Good. That's really good. I'm thinking big breakfast. Chocolate chip pancakes?" Another slow nod. He seemed off, subdued. But I figured he was just groggy. I let him be and went to start the pancakes. An hour later, after we'd eaten in near silence, I decided it was time. Time for the big reveal. I sat down on the couch, Emil playing quietly with his blocks on the floor. "Hey buddy, come here. I want to show you something." I pulled out my phone, opened the app, and started the playback from the night before. There I was, tucking him in. I fast-forwarded through the first few hours. Nothing. Just Emil, tossing and turning a bit. I felt a smug little smile creep onto my face. See? Nothing. I skipped ahead to around 3 a.m., and I saw it. The closet door didn't open. It dissolved. The wood seemed to melt away into a patch of perfect, seamless blackness. And something unfolded itself out of that void. It was tall, impossibly thin. Its limbs were like twisted branches, moving with a jerky, unnatural grace. It had no face, just that smooth, pale blankness from his drawing. It didn't walk. It drifted across the floor, its stick-like feet never quite touching the carpet. On the screen, I saw my son jolt awake. He opened his mouth to scream, but the thing was already there. A long, three-fingered hand covered his mouth, gentle as a falling leaf. It didn't grab him. It simply reached out its other hand, and my son went limp, his eyes rolling back in his head. It lifted him as if he weighed nothing and carried him back towards the closet, towards that gaping hole of black. Before it stepped through, it turned its blank face to the camera. It paused for a single, sickening heartbeat. And then, it was gone. The closet door was just a closet door again. My breath hitched. My heart felt like a block of ice in my chest. I kept watching, unable to look away, my thumb shaking as I scrolled forward. About 30 minutes later, the blackness returned. The thing emerged again. This time, it was carrying a bundle of what looked like sticks and old, dried leaves, all tied together with something that looked horribly like graying hair. It laid the bundle on Emil's bed. Then, with horrifying precision, it began to weave. It pulled a pair of my son's pajamas from his hamper. It pulled strands of his hair from his hairbrush on the dresser. It worked silently, its long fingers moving like a spider spinning a web. And the bundle of sticks began to take shape. It swelled, stretched, became solid. I watched, my stomach clenching, as skin, pale and waxy, seemed to stretch over the frame. It formed his face, his hands, his feet. The thing finished its work. It tucked the copy into bed. It even put my son's stuffed bear under its arm. Then it retreated into the closet, and the blackness sealed itself up. The thing on the bed twitched. Once, twice. Then it rolled over and lay still, breathing softly. It looked exactly like my son. I'm writing this from the basement. My phone is about to die. That thing is upstairs. It ate 6 pancakes this morning. It answered when Isra called its name. She thinks he's just having a quiet day. She keeps smiling, saying she's so glad he finally got a good night's sleep. How do I tell her? How do I tell her our son is gone? That the thing sitting in our living room, watching cartoons, is a monster made of twigs and whispers. She'd think I've lost my mind. They'd lock me up. And then she'd be alone with it. So I have to do something. I went back into his room a few minutes ago while I was distracted. On the floor, right by the closet, was a single, small object that wasn't there before. A small, smooth river stone, impossibly cold to the touch, with a single unblinking eye painted on it. I think it's a key. A way in. I don't know if I can get him back. I don't even know if he's still him. But I can't just sit here. I can't live in this house with that thing. When my phone dies, I'm going into the closet. If I don't come back, Isra, if you find this, I'm so sorry. I tried. I love you. Emil. Daddy's coming.